Hey, welcome! Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the secret history of an idea so powerful it has literally shaped our modern world. We're talking about everything from self-help to spirituality, and the wildest part, most of us have never even heard its name. So, let's go uncover this invisible influence together. Okay, I know, it sounds like the setup for a really weird joke, right? You've got a media giant, a global self-help blockbuster, and one of the most important recovery programs ever created. On the surface, they seem to have absolutely nothing in common, but they are all connected by one single invisible thread. So the answer isn't a person or a specific company. It's a whole philosophical movement that got its start way back in the 1800s, and it's been quietly weaving its way through our culture ever since. It's an idea that, as one expert put it, permeates almost everything because it is chameleon. It just shows up everywhere. So what is this thing? It's called New Thought. And at its heart is a really simple but totally revolutionary idea that your inner world, what you think, what you believe, what you feel, directly creates your outer world. Your thoughts literally create your reality. Now, the idea itself is ancient, but this was a whole new way of looking at it. So where did this all kick off? Well, you might be surprised. It wasn't in some grand university or a famous cathedral. Nope, it all started with a curious clockmaker from Maine who stumbled onto a discovery that would change, well, pretty much everything. Our story begins with this guy, Phineas P. Quimby. Back in the mid-1800s, he was really into something called mesmerism, which was kind of an early form of hypnotism. He used it to perform healings, and he was convinced that his special techniques and even these therapeutic magnets he used were the secret to his success. But then, something happened that flipped the whole script. Just imagine it. He's on his way to a big demonstration to prove his healing methods work. He reaches into his bag for his secret weapon, his magnets, and his heart drops. They're gone. He forgot them. Can you imagine the panic? He's got a whole audience waiting for him. He has to go on. So with no magnets, no special tools, he just goes through the motions. He does the healing. And guess what? The person was healed. It still worked. That one moment must have been a bombshell. It forced him to question everything he thought he knew about what he was doing. This was his massive aha moment. He realized the healing didn't come from some external object. It came from inside the patient's own mind, from their belief. It wasn't the magnets, it was the mind. He famously said, "The explanation is the cure." Just think about that. If you could change someone's thinking, you could actually change their body. Now, here's the interesting thing. Quimby himself never really set out to start a big movement. But an idea this powerful, it doesn't just disappear. It got passed down through this fascinating and honestly sometimes pretty dramatic line of successors who took his mind cure idea to the world. You can actually trace the whole thing. It starts with Quimby. Then one of his patients, Mary Baker Eddy, has this incredible healing and goes on to found Christian Science. But here's where it gets really juicy. Her own star student, a woman named Emma Curtis Hopkins, eventually breaks away, and she becomes known as the teacher of teachers. Why? Because her students went on to found pretty much all the major New Thought organizations that exist today. So you can see how from this one single starting point with a clockmaker in Maine, the idea of mind cure just starts to branch out. It doesn't follow one straight line. It splits off, creating these different but related movements that all carry Quimby's original DNA forward. And this is really the legacy of Emma Curtis Hopkins. Her students built the pillars of the New Thought movement. You've got Unity, which the Fillmores founded after Myrtle had this amazing healing from tuberculosis. You've got Divine Science. And you have religious science, founded by the legendary Ernest Holmes. These became the organized homes for Quimby's big idea. But the influence didn't even stop there. Quimby's ideas also became the seed for another massive spiritual movement, the Word of Faith movement, which is really popular in many Pentecostal and evangelical churches. What's so wild is that they share the same origin, but they split on one critical point. For New Thought, the power of the mind is a universal principle. It's available to anyone. For the Word of Faith movement, though, that power is granted exclusively through Jesus in the Bible. A huge fork in the road. Okay, so that's a lot of history I know, but why does it matter to us right now? Well, because this once obscure philosophy is now everywhere. Seriously, it is hiding in plain sight. So let's connect the dots from the 19th century right up to your bookshelf, your TV, and your daily life. I mean, just look at this incredible reach. The father of positive thinking, Norman Vincent Peale, He directly credited New Thought's Ernest Holmes as his teacher. The founders of Alcoholics Anonymous? Turns out they were studying New Thought writer Emmett Fox while they were writing the big book. The messages you hear from megachurch pastors like Joel Osteen, that's deeply infused with New Thought ideas. The entire modern self-help industry, and of course, The Secret, which is basically just New Thought's law of attraction packaged for a massive global audience. It's everywhere. And that brings us right back to our opening question. The thread connects directly to Oprah, one of the most influential people on the planet. She has talked about how a book by New Thought author Eric Butterworth was one of the most important books in her life. Her mentor, the amazing Maya Angelou, knew all about the teachings of unity. This so-called invisible philosophy has been a guiding force for the people who guide our culture. So, after tracing this entire secret history, from a clockmaker in Maine all the way to the biggest stages in the world, we land right here. The central driving idea of New Thought is that we have the power to shape our lives through our own consciousness. So the question it leaves us with is a personal one. If your thoughts are truly that powerful, what reality are you going to choose to create?